You ever have one of those moments where you just know something inside you is about to snap? That was me, 38,000 feet in the air, seat 2A, Denver bound. I wasn't trying to make a scene, wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just trying to get home, with my service dog, King, who, like always, was curled tight against my leg, calm, alert, doing his job. Then this flight attendant, Brenda, tight bun, tighter attitude, storms up and says, "Sir, animals can't be in the aisle." Now, I know what I saw. King wasn't in the aisle, not even close. I've had him for 3 years, and he's better trained than most humans I know. So I calmly say, "Ma'am, he's a certified service animal. He's exactly where he's supposed to be." But she doesn't hear me. No, she's already decided I don't belong there. Maybe it was the color of my skin. Maybe it was the fact that I was sitting in first class with a dog. Or maybe she just had a bad day and chose the wrong guy to unload on. Either way, she points toward the back and says, "He'll need to move to coach." That's when I felt it. That pressure in my chest, like something winding up inside me. King nudged me, gentle, steady, pulling me back from the edge like he always does. I reached slowly for my VA paperwork, trying to keep things smooth. And then it happened. She kicked him. My dog. Didn't warn me, didn't hesitate. Just kicked him in the back leg, hard enough to make him yelp. You could have heard a pin drop in that cabin. King didn't bark, didn't move. He just pressed into me harder, because he's trained for war zones, for flashbacks, for panic attacks. Not for this kind of cruelty. And me? I'd spent 25 years in Delta Force, been through things most people couldn't imagine. But that moment, that was different. That wasn't combat. That was something deeper, a line you don't cross. I took a breath. 1, 2, then I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You just kicked a federally protected service animal. That's assault." She didn't even flinch, just muttered something about needing the aisle clear and stormed off. Now, I could have lost it. Would have been easy. But then this young flight attendant, Kyle, steps in, calm, respectful. "Sir, may I ask what kind of service he provides?" That's how you ask. That's what professionalism looks like. I told him, "King helps with PTSD stabilization, interrupts spirals, keeps me here." Kyle nods. "Thank you for your service. Your dog's exactly where he needs to be. I'll handle this." And he did. Brenda disappeared. I started breathing again. Passengers were whispering. A guy 2 rows up had filmed the whole thing. And across the aisle, an older couple, Peter and Carol, leaned in. "You handled that with grace," Carol said, soft Southern accent. Peter gave me a nod. "Army, Vietnam. Damn fine dog you've got." We talked for a bit. First real conversation I'd had in weeks that didn't involve strategy, triggers, or medical forms. Just humans connecting. Couple rows back, I noticed this young black woman scribbling in a notebook. Had that look. Focused, quiet, watching. Didn't say a word. Just watched. We hit turbulence over the Rockies, rough enough to make people gasp, but King stayed solid. I did too. Then the captain's voice came on. "Mr. Carter, I'd like a word with you after we land." I wasn't sure if that was good or bad. Turns out, it was good. The captain, white hair, military bearing, firm handshake. Master Sergeant Carter, he said. Security forces, Iraq, I recognize the calm. We talked. He apologized for Brenda's behavior, offered me upgrades for a year, and a formal incident report form. I told him I didn't want blood, just awareness, respect. As we wrapped up, I caught Brenda standing nearby. She looked small, broken, almost. I was wrong, she said. I'm sorry. To you and your dog. It wasn't dramatic, wasn't perfect, but she said it. At baggage claim, Carol and Peter invited me to dinner, said their daughter was in town for a recital. I almost said no. My world doesn't usually leave room for strangers, but something told me maybe it should. Dinner that night was warm, easy. Their daughter Eliza was sharp, curious. We talked about military life, PTSD, dogs, regrets. And then, like some kind of cosmic joke, Brenda walked into the restaurant. She saw me, froze, and turned to leave. But just before the door, she came over. Quiet voice, shaking hands. I let my assumptions take over. I'm trying to be better. Peter nodded. Takes guts to say that. Brenda left. And yeah, I was still angry. But maybe a little less. Eliza leaned over. Most people never get a second chance to do the right thing. I hope she uses hers. That line stayed with me, because truth is, we all screw up, but not everyone owns it. The next morning, my daughter, who I hadn't seen in months, texted me out of the blue. Can we meet for breakfast? She wanted advice. About life. About fear. About how to keep pushing when things get dark. And for once, I had something to say that wasn't rehearsed or tactical. It was just real. So yeah, all that? It started with one kick, one moment of ignorance, and ended with connection, apology, a second chance. For all of us. Now I gotta ask, if you saw someone judged too fast, treated unfairly, what would you do? Or maybe it's happened to you. Tell me in the comments. I'll be there. Let's talk about what respect really looks like. You ever have one of those moments where you just know something inside you is about to snap? That was me, 38,000 feet in the air, seat 2A, Denver bound. I wasn't trying to make a scene, wasn't trying to prove anything.